It appears the North Carolina Republican Party may just get away with stealing a state Supreme Court seat. Now, I thought this whole thing was over, but no, it turns out that Judge Jefferson Griffin might end up having the state Supreme Court seat handed to him, even though he wasn't actually the winner. On April 4th, the North Carolina Court of Appeals ruled in favor of Griffin. Um, Following, of course, this victory in Wisconsin, Republicans apparently are making sure to do everything they can to not lose another state Supreme Court seat. Griffin was, of course, beaten by Allison Riggs. Now, Allison Riggs, look, she didn't win by that much, but she won. Two successive recounts had made sure that she was the winner. She ended up winning by 734 votes. And yet, now, thanks to this appeals court, which was a 2-1 decision, people are concerned. It is very concerning. For anyone who believes in democracy, thinking that this could end up leading to the North Carolina Republican Party using the courts to steal another Supreme Court seat, that is very, very discouraging and very, very concerning. Okay. This court has a Republican majority already. And so this would end up going to this Republican court to decide whether or not Griffin gets to serve on that court. And it's disastrous. Okay. Now, DNC Chairman Ken Martin said in a press call on April 10th, quote, "This is January 6th with a robe and suits. They're trying to deny the rights of voters in this country right now, and it's shameful." Look, at the end of the day, North Carolina voters made their voices heard. They turned out, they voted. Allison Riggs won. Now, of course, Griffin has the right, because it was such a close election, to go and challenge the results. Very, very razor thin victory. Okay, you can challenge, you could do a recount. They did 2 recounts. He lost them both. That should be it. That should have been, okay, all she wrote. Sorry, try again next time. But no, sore loser. That's what all these people are that keep challenging these election results. They're sore losers. Okay? Sore losers. Oh, it must have been fraud. Do you have any evidence of fraud? No. Oh, okay, well, move on. Move on. But no, they're continuing to press that. Now, in this case, right, Griffin wanted to throw out 65,000 votes. 65,000. Now, a previous court decision on April 11th said, no, you can't just throw out 65,000 votes. All right? Or at least you can't throw out 60,000. So there's still like some ambiguity here about the remaining 5,000 votes. And actually, it's from a range of 2,000 to 7,000 votes that could end up being tossed due to the fact that they're overseas and military votes. Also, votes cast by African Americans. Those voters will have to cure their ballots within the next 30 days, being told to go through some extra steps for literally no reason. All right. Those voters were probably targeted because they're likely to have voted against Griffin. Black voters were twice as likely as white voters to have their ballots challenged. Voters aged 18 to 25 were also the largest group to have their votes challenged. So I think it's pretty clear what is going on here. This is voter suppression based on this idea that there's mass voter fraud that they can never seem to provide proof of. That's like not the official explanation here, but you know that they're talking about it. They're framing it in that way to protect this challenge. Now, officially, It's, oh, there's some discrepancies in their voter registration files. That's why they have to go and cure their ballots, right? But here's the thing. It's not because of fraud. This is clerical errors. North Carolina already has voter ID. So they already have those things, and that's still not enough for them. They want to make sure to restrict the vote as much as they can. And that's the problem. Okay. Now, the other thing that points to voter suppression is when these challenges were made. Not before an election, but right after Griffin lost. Had he won, I can guarantee they wouldn't have said a goddamn thing. Would have been complete and utter silence. Crickets. But because he lost, and because it's by such a small margin, of course, now they have to do these challenges. And look, just like in the Wisconsin race, these Supreme Court seats in the states, they could have a huge impact all across the country on things like, for example, maps, congressional maps that decide who controls the House of Representatives. That's some of the decisions that this court will end up making. Now, Anderson Clayton, the North Carolina Democratic Party chair, said during a press call, "We know that the consequences of this race extend far beyond the borders of our state. Today, it's a Supreme Court race in our state, but in 2026, it's a United States House of Representatives seat. It's a governor's seat. It's any race that Republicans lose on the margins." Look, I know that this is not true for all of them, but at this point, it's not controversial to say that Republicans no longer believe in democracy. They do not believe in the voters. Because, well, only when the voters don't vote the way that they want. And that's despite voters continuously putting them back into power. So they believe in rigging the electoral system in such a way that their minority ends up somehow having more power than the majority. And if they manage to steal this seat, you can bet that this is going to embolden Republicans everywhere else into doing the same thing. If they can win here doing this, they can win anywhere. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.